Hey everybody, Joy here. Joy is back. I don't know, maybe it hasn't been that long since I made a video, but it seems like a long time to me. So I basically want to talk to you today about one thing so I can label it under my video, and when people go there and they start watching it, they don't say, well, she's just blabbing about this and blabbing about that. Why doesn't she get to the point? So here's the point, my friends. We're going to talk about Electric Quilt 8. It is a software program called Electric Quilt. I imagine they started out with number 1. I think I had 5, 6, and 7. But now I have the latest and the greatest, number 8. And I am telling you, I have not had this much fun since I was in first grade. I can't quit doing it. I can't quit. Hurry up and do load of washer. Hurry up and make dinner. Hurry up and do the dishes so I can go back to my computer and play with Electric Quilt again. So if you watch me all the time, you know that I already made the baskets. It was originally Edita's pattern, her Little Quilt Club. Only it was the 3rd month, and my friend and I did not like the quilt she came up with. We liked the baskets, but we didn't like that they were all sideways. And so we decided we wanted to change it and make our baskets right side up. And my friend Philly, my nickname for Phyllis, she said, oh, we could use Electric Quilt. And I said, oh my goodness, I think I've heard of that. I think I purchased it sometime in my life. So we both did a search. She had given hers away when she moved because she just had to get rid of because they had so much stuff, and it's one of the things that she just gave away. She wished she hadn't now. I found mine in a box out in the attic of books that came with software and boxes that came with software. There was a big box under a table out there, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's in that box. And sure enough, I had purchased up to Electric Quilt 7. So I started using Electric Quilt 7. Philly didn't have anything. So she said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it again. So she bought Electric Quilt 8. Now this is a friend of mine who lives 250 miles from me, I don't know, 350, I don't know. She lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I live in way southern Oklahoma. So we sew together via Zoom. And we were Zooming every Thursday. So we talked a lot about it, and she said, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it again. Well, so then she had version 8, and I only had version 7. So we would be Zooming together, and her computer monitor would look different than my monitor because my software was old and hers was new. So, of course, what could I do but buy version 8 myself? So let me show you what I have done. I think most of you that watch me a lot have seen my first quilt. Let me put a picture of it right here. So that quilt is called Little Baskets. All of the quilts I'm designing and making are little. This is something Edita Sittard Laundry Basket Quilt started. I didn't start it. But when we got the quilt last month that we thought is way too expensive, she charges $69 for it, and you get very, very little fabric and pattern printed on a piece of paper, and we just were unhappy with it. However, she showed on her website the other day her little quilt for October 2023, and it's darling. But I'm going to try to make my own on Electric Quilt 8. So you saw my first quilt that I designed with EQ8. So I'm going to show you my second one I designed because I wanted to learn. I have been watching how-to videos. I'm not the only YouTube person you're going to see showing you how to use Electric Quilt 8. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of videos, and I'm going to tell you, the number one best, most amazing thing, especially this day and age, is that any time you have a question, and it's like 8 to 5 or whatever their hours are, it might be 8 to 4:30 or 9 to 4, I'm not sure, and probably Monday through Friday. But if you are working on this and you have a question, you can go to chat at electricquilt.com and somebody will be there. Somebody will be there, probably several somebodies are there, and they always answer you immediately, and I don't care what question in the world you ask them. They know the answer, and they are happy to give you the answer for no charge, no fee, no complaining, no treat you like you're stupid. I'm telling you, I haven't seen this kind of customer service in my life. It's amazing, except for maybe us. When we owned our medical equipment business, we taught our employees, you answered the phone by the second ring, and we always had live people answering the phone, and we always answered their questions. So I would say, since our own company. Alrighty, that was years ago. So I'm going to show you. This is fun, fun, fun. Now there's things, nothing works right until you learn it. It's just, you know, it's new software, and you have to learn the ABCs of it and the 1, 2, 3s of it, and what does this button do, and what does that button do, and what does this mean, and what does that mean. So I'm going to show you number 2 that I designed is this one because I wanted to see how Applique worked. So this is their Applique, it's their sunflower. I have changed it on the one I ended up making, but I made this in Electric Quilt 8. The bird was there, the sunflowers were there. You can add 1,000 borders if you want to. So I made this up, another little quilt. Does it say how big you are? No, it doesn't, but I'll show you how big it is. I made it already. I have to put it on my long arm and quilt it, but this is it. I was going to leave the bird off of it, but I showed it to Philly and she said, "No, put the bird on there." So the bird is on there. So since I have a black crow on there now, the binding on this will be black. So let me kind of hold the binding up and show you, and you can get an idea. See, this is how I do it. And so the binding will be black. And my little quilts are going up on my attic. This is our old attic, made into my sewing studio, sewing room, sewing, whatever you want to call it. And I noticed when I started doing the little quilts that this would be a great place to hang them because they're so small. So even this one will fit up there. So fun, fun, fun. So I was talking to one of their very, very, very helpful girls. I've talked to one named Diane, and I've talked to one named Heidi. And I think those are the only 2 I've talked to so far. Friendly. Oh, you don't talk to them in person, you like text, you know, in the chat box. Oh, they'll say, "Oh, watch this video. Oh, watch this tutorial. Oh, oh, oh." They just, so helpful. And then you know what I did? I decided to start making little tips, and I put them on my Rolodex. I have a Rolodex, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I started making little cards for the Rolodex. And when I call and I ask them a question, I'll make a card and it says EQ8, so they're all filed under EQ8, separate card for every question, and I'll write down in little letters what my question was, and then I'll write down what their answer was. With my mind, that is going to be so helpful for remembering tomorrow what I learned today. I am just so excited about this software. I can't wait to show you. You want to see my next quilt I designed? So I quilted this, and they're little. Now these are all little quilts. I'm learning EQ8 doing little quilts. So this was number 2, and I have number 3. Now I'm going around and I'm measuring places on my wall. So I measured between my cabinets above my sink yesterday, and I thought, oh, look at that little space up there. I wonder how big that is. And it was 24 inches by 16 inches. So I went into Electric Quilt 8, and I started out with a blank quilt, 24 by 16, And look what I ended up with. Let me see if it's a good picture. Spools. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is my next one. And what an amazing, wonderful, fabulous way, because it is little. I mean, these just be little bitty strips to use up your scraps. Yes, I tell you, I'm so excited about this. I keep trying to talk to Jerry about it, and he couldn't care less. He just wants me to go away and be quiet. So once Billy gets moved in her new apartment, some of you may know, if you're my friends and you've been watching me a long time, that my best friend's husband passed away recently after a very, very long illness. And so she sold their great big house, and she's moving right now into an apartment. So when you hear me talking about her, I call her Philly, and we were doing this little club thing together, okay? Notice that the applique from Electric Quilt, all the sunflowers are the same. They're the same height, they got the same number of leaves. Now notice that when I made it, I changed the height of them, and I put different numbers of leaves. So, you can design it and redesign it and do anything you want to because it's applique. Now let me tell you something else. If you happen to own a scan and cut or some kind of cutter, I don't know what other cutters do, but I know what scan and cut does. Electric Quilt software will let you print out the shapes that you need. It showed me the circle I needed, the flower I needed, the leaves I needed, the stem I needed. I scanned them into my scan and cut. I took my material, here's the green. I took my material, I cut however off much I needed. I backed it with heat and bond light, and I do it different than anybody else you're gonna watch out there. Anybody else that I know of. I know All Brands does it different. My friend Becky Thompson does it different, and I don't know if anybody does it like I do it or not, but my way is a really, really good way. So, I'll be showing you that too. All right, I just want to talk to you a little bit more about the software. Now this is Electric Quilt 7 that I had already purchased years ago that I had out in the attic, and it came in a box. And in the box was a book. And the book had lots of tutorials and lots of information. Actually, this book probably would be just fine to work with Electric 7 right now. If you already own it, you wouldn't even need 8. But since Billy got 8, I had to get 8 because you know that's what friends do. But just so you can see the actual name, Electric Quilt, and this was the box they used to come in. But it doesn't come this way anymore. And there's no book anymore, no hardcover book, or it's actually a softcover book. Now, it's just a download, as everything is these days. But it comes with a whole bunch, more than you'll probably ever be able to watch, of free tutorials, free videos, free written tutorials that you can print out. So many things. And like I told you before, they are just absolutely wonderful. If you've read the tutorials, if you've practiced, I've practiced. Oh my goodness, how many hours are there in a day? And I've been doing this about 5 days. I'd say at least 40 hours. I have watched tutorials and then tried to do it. And watch a tutorial and then try to do it. And I actually found out that you can have it on 100 computers if you want to. Yes. I have a laptop that I carry around back and forth to our RV. We have an RV. And I take my laptop in the RV. Up here I have a desktop and it doesn't move. So I have this installed on my desktop and I have it on my laptop. So I can open up my laptop, put the how do you do it video on there. Then I can have my desktop right here. I'll have my laptop next to my desktop. And then on my desktop I will have the quilt open. And then I will make the quilt that whoever's doing the tutorial is making. And I'll make the quilt that they're making. What you still need to know when you're in there and something won't work right or you can't make it do something, you just chat with them. Of course they have to be open, but still. If they aren't open, you can email them and they will email you back as soon as they are open. So far, there's only one complaint I've had. It was in my last video. And it was that you can't do sashings with it. They have some funky way you can do it, but it's real crazy. And if you tell it you want sashings, it will put them in there, but they're all pieced. They all have cornerstones. And I just think that's, for such amazing software, I'm like, what? Who thought of that? So I've told them about it, not like they know who I am from Adam, but they said a lot of people have complained about it. So hopefully version 9, or maybe they'll just send you an update or something and you won't have to pay for it, and it will make it so you can use the sashings better. Now, when I was talking to Heidi this morning, you say, well, I have a question about this, I have a question about that. She'll say, oh, here, watch this video. Here, watch this video. So I got all done and I told her, thank you very much. And she said, hey, why don't you sign up for our share a sale? And I said, what's a share a sale? Well, as a lot of you know, a lot of YouTubers are affiliates. Now, I've never been an affiliate with anybody or anything. Well, kind of with Amazon. I guess you would say I'm an affiliate with Amazon, although I make nothing. 12 cents, come on. I don't do a lot with Amazon. I could, but I would rather play with EQ8. So I guess I'm an affiliate with Amazon. But now they want me to be an affiliate, or they allowed me to be, or suggested that I could be when I told them I had a YouTube channel. And so if anybody buys Electric Quilt 8 software using my link, which I don't have yet, then I will get part of the sale. I have no idea the amount or anything like that. But they give you some, and I know a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this all over YouTube. And they have all kinds of affiliates. I have one company just begging me every day. 3 or 4 people from this company begging me. How much would you charge? Please, please, please. And I don't know why. My channel is not that big. But I don't know that company. I don't know who they are or what they sell. I know this, and I really like it. It's not cheap. It's like $250. Sometimes you can get it 25% off. That would be a really good deal. But just believe me, if you like playing with your computer, if you're good, you know, with your keyboard and with, you know, clicking on this and clicking on that, this is so much fun. You can put fabrics. Notice that my spools have actual fabric in them. See the spools? They have fabrics. Now, I didn't choose any particular company's fabric. These fabrics were already in the software, and I just chose yellows and reds and pinks and greens and all that stuff. But you can actually put real fabrics from real companies into the libraries. They have a library with a zillion blocks, and they have a library with a ton of fabric. A whole bunch is already there, but you can get a whole bunch more. Moda, for one. And you can go to Moda, and you can look up what particular line, say there was a Joy fabric, and you can look up the Joy fabric line, and then you just click on the download button, and it will download it right into this software. Amazing. Let's talk about scan and cut for a few minutes, okay? Always close your blades, you know that. So Electric Quilt will print out templates for applique. Now, it printed out everything on this sunflower quilt, but I'm just going to give you an example. This is the template for the crow. This is the template for the square that was behind the crow that I didn't really need. I just figured out how to get rid of that. And see his little toes? His little toes and his little legs are on there. And of course, I just cut those out and threw the square away. And then they print out a picture of what you're going to do with your applique pieces, and they give them a letter. The circle for the seeds, the letter J is here, D is here, and looks like it looks like it's a little confused, or it's put the letter for the circle and the flower together here. But here it says this is a D, this is a J, and then all of the leaves have letters, and the stems have letters, And so it prints all of these out as templates. Now, I don't know what it called the flower in the background. I'm guessing that this is the circle and a flower, and then this is just a flower and a flower. But you can figure that out. I figured it out real easy without a problem. So since my quilt is already done, I told it to just print me 3 leaves. So I figure out what material I want to print the leaves on. Let me see if I cut out a big enough piece. Yes, I did. So we're going to go into the scan and cut as soon as I get something to cut. I have something to scan, and now I have to have something to cut. So I cut my material, then I get my heat and bond. I bought a whole bolt of it. I think sometimes you can get this on sale at Joann Fabrics, but I wouldn't swear to it. Check the internet, see what you can find. Is it in my store? Maybe. I don't know. Let me see, is that 3 inches? Oh, it's a little more than 3 inches. So let me just put this on here and do a quick cut around it. I cut the fabric and the heat and bond. What's the heat and bond called? What is this called? Glue? It's not called Glue Joy. Now I am cutting this with my green fabric right side up, and this heat and bond, the sticky part, the bumpy part is on top, because I want to make sure that the bumpy part fits to this piece of green fabric. And it could be cut in a circle, or it could be cut in a heart shape, or, you know, I just want to make sure they're both the same so I don't get glue all over my iron. What are these things called? It'd be great if I could remember that. We know what it is, but I mean, what's its real name? Heat and Bond Light Sewable. Iron-on adhesive. That's what it's called, iron-on adhesive. Now, I also have Steam-A-Seam 2 and Steam-A-Seam 2 Light. You can use any of those for this method. This is the Joy method. If any of you do it like this, hooray, hooray, I'm so glad I have company, because I have not seen it taught this way yet. Not this part, the scan and cut part, okay? So let me turn you around. Every brand of this has directions. Sometimes the directions are right and sometimes they aren't. The directions on this are wrong. I think it says to hold this for like 2 seconds. If you hold this for 2 seconds, it's going to come off when you're cutting it. So don't hold it for 2 seconds. I don't know how many seconds I held that for, but I think it was more than 2. Then iron the other side. 1001, 2001, well, that doesn't count. Get it good and hot. Now, I didn't hold it for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, but I maybe held it for 5. You want to make sure that the glue is stuck on the back of that fabric. You do not want the glue coming off when you're cutting it on your scan and cut, and I've had that happen before. And I'll tell you when it really happens bad, is when you cut paper side up. I don't ever cut the paper. I don't ever even put it on the mat. I don't even take it in the other room. I take the paper off and I throw it away. You see here? The paper backing, goodbye. I don't use it. I don't put it on my mat. I don't cut it. I tried that because that was the directions that I was given when I first got my scan and cut. And I had the biggest mess you ever saw, and the paper all crinkled up, and this wrinkled up. It was horrible. So this is the Joy Bernhardt method. Please remember that. And I'm using a scan and cut machine. Iron on. Let's go in the other room. Let me tell you something real important, real important. I might have some real new quilters. I can't imagine experienced longtime quilters watching me in the first place, but electric quilt software does not give you instructions on how to make the quilt. Very important to know. Don't buy it and say, there's no instructions. There's no instructions. There's no instructions. There's no instructions. You have to figure out how to make the quilt yourself. Now this is where, if I do some little quilt tutorials, sew-alongs, then I can tell you how to put the quilt together. That would be one thing I could do if we do start. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. All right, so the first thing, now this is the scan and cut part, okay? So if you know scan and cut and you don't need anybody to show you what to do, goodbye. You have to have a scanning mat. A scanning mat isn't sticky. I have the long one because sometimes I scan a whole bunch of stuff, but you can scan just a little bit of stuff too. And it has the cover, the plastic cover, and the difference between this mat and all the other mats is this cover doesn't come off. This cover stays on because it holds what you're fixing to take a picture of. See, there's my 3 little leaves. You don't have to scan this whole mat. This design is so small that I can tell it to scan just down to 4 inches. It gives you choices. I think the littlest choice might be 6 inches. But you could scan 6 inches of it, 12, I'll tell you when I look it up, 12 inches of it. Let's turn it on, that would be a good idea. Scan and cut's wonderful. Wonderful. You gotta have a scan and cut. Yeah, if you're gonna, if you wanna have fun quilting, you have to have a scan and cut, and you have to have electric quilt. In my completely unprofessional opinion. And of course, if you can afford it. Birthday presents, Christmas presents, put it on your gift list. So I'm going to scan, I just put 3 leaves here. I'm going to scan these leaves because I'm going to show you how I cut things out for applique. Alright? So I'm going to put this in here. The first thing you have to do is feed it. Now mine likes to feed crooked. And I figured out if I hold it, it will feed it straight. If you want to erase everything you did before, hit the little house and okay. We don't want to do anything we did before we're starting over. Now let's feed this mat in here. You just push the little mat button there. Now don't go crooked. Well, it didn't go at all. My little rollers have been funky lately. There's probably some way to fix them, but I don't know what it is. Go. No, it's going crooked again. Look. Not when I'm doing a tutorial. Could you have some manners? The scan and cut can be a pain in the rear when it won't work right. I'm going to line it up with the left roller and pray it goes in right. No, it's going in crooked again. Now you have to be patient with this equipment. It fed it crooked, fed it crooked, fed it crooked, fed it crooked, fed it crooked. I finally took it out and I cleaned off these little black rollers with just a wet wipe. They don't even turn. But I cleaned them as good as I could, and I cleaned the end of this mat and it went in easily. So do what you can do. Hopefully you will finally figure out. Okay, so now that I've fed it in with the little mat feeder in button, we're going to tell it to scan. And we're going to scan to cut data. We're not going to direct cut because I don't want it to cut out my scanning mat. If you tell it to direct cut, it's going to cut this. No, we just want it to take a picture. All right, so we're going to scan to cut. Now right here it says scan area, and I know you can't see this, I'm just telling you what it says. Scan area 12 by 12, but if you hit the little wrench, there's always something behind the little wrench. Hit the little wrench, and it will say scan area, and the littlest one is 12 by 6. 12 by 12, 12 by 18, or the whole length 12 by 24. I'm going to choose 12 by 6 because all I have is these 3 little leaves up here at the top, and I'm going to say, yeah, do that. And scan. Okay, let's go. That. Okay. Okay. If there's okays, you gotta keep on hitting the okays until it says start. Alright, so now we're going to start, and it's going to take a picture of those 3 leaves, and it's going to keep them in the machine where you tell the machine to keep them. There it is. Recognizing. Yes, there they are. I just want to cut around them. And that looks real good. Then you take this little scruncher upper tool and you make it go around the 3 little leaves you don't need all of this area around it to cut out. You just need the 3 little leaves. So you just make your box scrunch in and fit what you're getting ready to cut out, okay? Preview. I don't know why you preview it. Yes, that looks great. Okay. Now, it took me a while to learn this, but you're going to have to tell it if you want to send it to your laptop or your desktop. Do you want to put it on one of those little USB sticks, or do you want to save it in this? We want to save it in this, so we're going to push on the picture of the scan and cut. Now it's saved. Okay. So now I'm just going to put the little house and tell that to all go away. I don't need it anymore, and I'm going to eject this mat. It took a picture of those 3 leaves. So I don't need this mat anymore. Now this is the big question in the scan and cut world. What mat do you use? They have so many mats. They have a fabric mat. They have a low tack mat. They have a standard tack mat. They have long mats. They have short mats. In my opinion, and the way I do it, I use either a used, that would be used, not new, used standard mat. Standard mats, is it standard or vinyl? I wrote vinyl on here, but I'm still pretty sure this is called, it is standard tack adhesive mat. And when I was first learning this, they said, write vinyl on there so you'll remember that's what you use for vinyl. Well, you could also write on here for fabric. Cutting fabric applique with sticky stuff on the back of it. Fabric for applique with heat and bond or steam seam on the back of it. You could write that on here. You could also use your low tack mat. And the thing about it is, I've used this so much, it is low tack now. Okay? Where's my green material? Here it is. You can see yesterday. Here's what I cut out yesterday. Say, here's the 3 sunflower seed circles. And look, it's got the sticky stuff on the back. It's still there. This was the crow. Can you see the crow? There he is. There's the crow. And here's all of his little feet and his toes. See? Perfect, perfect, perfect cut. I cut out 3 flowers. So I have my leaves ready, my fabric. The other people that tell you how to do it are going to tell you to put the fabric down. I never, ever, ever put my fabric down. I always put the sticky stuff down. Number 1, it sticks way better. Number 2, it comes loose way better. And tacky sticks to tacky a whole lot better than non-tacky does. So, put it down on the mat. Do you see here it says, did you reverse it? If you were putting this green fabric side down, you would have to reverse. These leaves are like the same, no matter if they're upside down or right side up. But you would have to reverse it before you cut it out if you put the fabric wrong side down. Okay? Very, very important. So, another reason I like to cut the fabric right side up, you don't even have to hardly put it on here. I mean, it just goes on great. And it comes off so easy. All right, let's see if we can feed this without it eating it. We're going to try again. Please. You have to feed it first. Oh, it's working so much better. Evidently, you can wash these little rubbery things with your wipes. All right, our fabric is in. Now we're going to find our leaves. So we're going to go to Retrieve Data. Where is the data? It's in here. So we're going to click on the picture of this right there. Now we're going to go down to the very, very bottom with the 2 arrows because what you scan is always at the bottom of the list. And we're going to choose the 3 leaves and we're going to say OK. Now, we've got the 3 leaves there. They're all ready to cut out. But we can't tell by this picture if they're going to land on the fabric. We don't want them to cut out and then cut out down here and be half on the fabric and half off the fabric. We don't want them to cut off the side over here and, you know, have a little bit of green and a little bit of nothing. So what you can do, which is wonderful with these scan and cuts, I don't know if the other machines do it. You can scan the mat with your material on it. With your material on it. We're scanning the material on the mat to find out where the material is in respect to the 3 leaves. Does that make sense? Let's scan this green material. Start. I love this machine. Do you know how much applique I've done in my life? Those turtles, have y'all seen my turtles? I cut out every single one of those 1,000 dots by hand with scissors. Oh, do I love this machine. All right, so now you can see the material. So I can see the material in the picture and I can see the 3 leaves in the picture. So now I can move the 3 leaves around and make sure they're on the material. You can rotate them, which I think I will. You hit edit, hit object edit, and hit the little rotate arrow, and then tell it to turn 90 degrees. Click that one, tell it to turn 90 degrees. Let's do that one. 10, 10, 10, 10. There you go. Okay. 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 I think you can actually see that. The 3 leaves and the green material and how I've put the 3 leaves exactly where I want them to cut out on that material. All right? So over here, we're going to push. You can do it with your finger if you want to. Oh, and I'm going to show you something else that's really cool. Okay. Please select. And what do we want to do? We want to cut. Let's cut out 3 leaves. This is the other thing I wanted to tell you about. This is the coolest tool. It is a jewel picker by Marvy. A jewel picker by Marvy. I'll put it in my Amazon store. It has this little rubbery tip on it. See the little rubbery tip? You can put it down up there on the screen. Say I want to move a leaf, and you can move it like this. You can just turn this just a little bit, and that leaf will move a zillionth of an inch. And sometimes that's all you need it to move because that's all you've got room for. Get you one of these if you have a scan and cut. You'll love it. It's cheap, I'm sure, unlike the scan and cut. All right, let's start cutting. Are you ready? Raise your hand, yes. Start. I'm going to show you how easy this is going to come off of here. Remember, I've got the fabric right side up. I'm not reversing the image. I'm cutting it in its normal location, right side up, not reversed. The sticky stuff is down on the mat, the heat and bond. Now, the first time I did this, it did not work good because I ironed the heat and bond on like it said 2 seconds or whatever, and it wasn't ironed on good enough. So you make sure that sticky stuff is ironed on there good. Don't iron it too much or you'll ruin it and it won't work when you want to use it for an applique. Okay. Spit out the mat. Let's see what we got going on. Did you see? Did you see how easy that came off? Did you see? Look at that. No problem. Why on earth do they put the fabric side down? I don't know. Maybe the world's changed and everybody's doing it my way now. I don't know. But I'll guarantee you they didn't used to do it that way. So then you take your little spatula. Oh, you want to watch somebody super fun on scan and cut? If you're new at scan and cut or you buy a scan and cut, there's this girl named Courtney. And she works for All Brands. I think her family owns All Brands. It's a real big store and it has 3 locations, I think, in Texas and Louisiana. Her name is Courtney and she's just darling. She's got hair to her waist and she's got enough for 10 people. I always notice everybody's hair. Don't you notice in other people what you wish you had yourself? Beautiful, beautiful hair. And her name is Courtney, and I think it's with a K. I'm not sure. But I'm sure if you search All Brands videos on YouTube, All Brands Scan and Cut, she does a live, and I think it's the same night every week. I don't know which night it is because I always just look at it after it's already been done. But she does it live. You can ask her questions. But you can learn everything in the world about the Scan and Cut watching those All Brands videos. Except that I think she does applique different. I think she does fabric side down. And paper still on it. Oh, no, 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 no. I never, never, never do it with the paper. I mean, look at my mat. Nothing stuck on it. It came off so easy. So easy. So here's my 3 leaves. I might add a couple more to my quilt in there. But I just wanted to do a real quick little scan and cut for you, since when I'm doing applique, I'm using the scan and cut as well. So why a little quilt? Well, there's several reasons. I have a bunch of big quilts I still need to finish. Right here you can see the kitty quilt I made for my husband with my husband's cats in it. And it's all done except the binding. I need to do that. I'm making a king-size quilt for a bed. I have so many others. So when we found out you could make a little quilt and it was legal, we started making little quilts. Now, this obviously, I know you're thinking, well, is the best a quilt you can make, an electric quilt? No, 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 no. No, not at all. This is a very simple one. I was practicing applique and how to turn an applique into a motif. 2 things. Appliques have background fabric. Motifs are just a motif. Okay? So I was practicing that part of the software, and it took me a while. So to practice it, I just made a little quilt. Okay? But electric quilt software has hundreds of blocks in it, all different kinds. You can look at them for hours. And in fact, if you're interested in this, go to electricquilt.com. Click on their gallery, and you can look at the really fancy quilts. So many people have made lots and lots of quilts of valor, and you can see what they have done with the electric quilt software, which is, you know, way, 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 way more advanced than 3 little sunflowers with a bird, okay? So I wanted to tell you that. And so why else a small quilt? Why else is I can quilt this in an hour. I can put it up here on my APQS Millennium. I've got the backing all cut out right here. You can see it. The backing needs to be 3 inches extra all the way around on a quilt. So I'll put the backing and the batting and the quilt on here, and I'll have this quilted by the end of the day. In my next video, I'll show it to you, okay? So come back. And speaking of coming back, if you're new, I have a lot of new subscribers. If you're new and you watch my videos already, and maybe you like my videos, would you please subscribe? It makes a huge, huge difference in what YouTube does with your videos, not just mine, everybody's. Because the more people that subscribe, the more YouTube thinks, oh, maybe somebody want to watch this. And so then if you search electric quilt, or you search sewing, or you search quilting, you might see me there. And instead of being number 500 in the list, maybe I'll be number 20. It's called algorithms. That's a big word, isn't it? I never heard of it until YouTube. So if you don't mind, would you mind? I know you can't do it on the TV. I watch most YouTube on TV also, and I don't know how to subscribe on the TV. But if one of you knows how, would you mind telling me? Because there's a lot of places I watch all the time and I need to subscribe to them. And a thumbs up, you know about a thumbs up? If you want to, just totally don't think twice about it. Just go on and fix your lunch or your dinner, or hug your husband and your kids, whatever. Okay, but I did want to tell you, little quilts are lots of fun, and you don't have to have a long arm. You know, you can quilt your quilt on a sewing machine. I started out quilting a queen-size quilt on my sewing machine, and I decided real fast that that wasn't for me, so that's why I bought a long arm. But if you're doing a little quilt like this, oh my gosh, you can do it on a sewing machine in no time. Put on your little gloves and get on your little slippery sheet, you know, that you put down, and you can quilt it on your sewing machine. Or there's software now. Solaris and the Luminaire, in their upgrade 3, I think it was, came out with quilting designs that you can put this in a hoop and you can quilt it with a design. Then you take it out of the hoop, you move it over, and you quilt the design here, and they connect perfectly. Take it out of the hoop, move it over. Now this would probably take 20 hoopings. That part I don't like. And of course I have a long arm. But if your quilt is very little, you could do it in, I think Philly did it in 15 hoopings last time. And I think I did mine in 8 hoopings because I had a bigger hoop. So, lots and lots of fun. If you're retired like me and you like staying busy and you want to learn, I love learning new things. I always have. So, fun, fun, fun. I really like to do electric quilt. There's all kinds of appliques, motifs, and quilt blocks galore, colors galore. It is fun, fun, fun. If you'd like to know more about it, and if you'd like to see me do it, leave me a thumbs up. If I get 1,000 thumbs up and you tell me, hey, we want to watch you do electric quilt, I'll do it. But I got to have 1,000 thumbs up. See, that's a, what would you call that? A bribe? I'll tell you what it is. It's a gift to me. Yes, it is. I'm going to let you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon.